Yo, what's good? I am Jabari. Welcome to the Broken Clock Podcast. Right now, I need you guys to subscribe to this YouTube channel right here. Share, like, comment, leave comments, obviously. Leave reviews, critiques. Tell me what you hate. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you don't like. Also, follow me on all socials at Broken Clock 96 on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, Broken Clock _ podcast. Okay, this is my first time doing a podcast. Kind of stepping out my comfort zone on a few fronts here. I'm not anybody who knows me, anybody who's close to me knows I'm not social media friendly. I've never had a TikTok until now. Not against it, just not something I do. But gotta step out my box, man. Gotta get into it. I've been a fan of podcasts for a long time, man. I'm not trying to do I was there first, but I was listening to podcasts when, not that it wasn't cool to listen to, but just nobody was listening to them. You know what I mean? And it was kind of, I didn't even know how to describe them. You know what I mean? It was just hearing people talk for 2 hours. You know what I mean? And I like to talk. One thing I do is I like to talk. I'm gonna learn how to do this. I'm gonna learn how to work YouTube. I'm gonna learn how to film myself. I'm gonna learn how to edit. I'm gonna learn how to work, TikTok. And I'm gonna learn how to do all this stuff. But I know how to talk, and I know how to talk about what I know about. So, I was gonna give a little, not really a background on myself because, if you subscribe, if you follow me, you'll get to know me just from hearing me talk. I ramble a lot. I like to rant. So I'm not gonna give like a background on how I grew up and who I am and all that. I wanted to give a background on why I decided to do this. Basically, talk about my influences and who are the podcasters to this day that I listen to religiously and follow, and the people who I'm trying to make content that I like, that I would listen to. You know what I'm saying? And some of my favorite podcasters, Joe Rogan, of course, Bill Simmons, Joe Budden, The Brilliant Idiots, Roy and Maul, Ryan Russillo. Those are the pods right there that I've been listening to for a decade. Roy and Maul obviously just started there when they broke off from Joe. They started theirs about 5-6 years ago, but been a huge fan of podcasts, man. I'm gonna say that a million times because I really gotta stress it to people that I know I know what a good podcast sounds like. I know what a great podcast sounds like. I'm not hating on where podcasts have went. You know what I mean? I get it. A lot of money has came into it, but my definition of a podcast is, what are the top 3 things in your mind that you could just rant about? You could just, like, on a dime, you could wake up and just talk for an hour and a half about. That's a podcast. You know what I mean? Obviously, like I said, podcasts have gotten so big. Everybody has one. I just started one. So people want to be in the algorithm. They want to talk about the current events. They want to talk about what's going on, the new hot this, the new this. If it's natural to what I like, I'll talk about it. But I like talking about what I like to talk about. I'm a huge sports guy. You get a lot of NBA on here, a lot of all sports. You know what I mean? Not really into hockey. Just got into baseball, kind of crazy. Huge NBA fan, huge Boston Celtic fan, diehard Boston Celtic fan. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and I'm a New York Yankees fan. You'll find out why later. You'll find out how all 3 of those teams ended up. I ended up selling my soul to all 3 of those teams. You know, music. I'm a huge hip hop fan. I'm not gonna call myself a hip hop historian. I think that's real dramatic, but I love history in general. But hip hop history is like one of the most important things to me. I think studying is super important, super important, man. Especially I think studying history is important for everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember when I first started listening to podcasts. It's like 2013. I was definitely in high school. You know what I mean? Maybe like junior high school, and you just get infatuated with hearing people have conversations that you've never had before, or you've never really heard nobody have conversations like this before. You know what I mean? Like The Brilliant Idiots, which is probably my favorite podcast ever. Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schultz. Charlemagne being a black guy from South Carolina and Andrew Schultz being a white guy from Manhattan. And they're in this weird time that we was in, 2014, 15, and they're having these conversations on their podcast that, according to, mainstream media, or according to when you talk to people, it's black and white. Either you're on this side or that side. And I'm listening to these two dudes have these super nuanced conversations. Like I've never heard anybody talk like this. Never. I've thought like this. We all think like this, but nobody talks like this. Because you get criticized, you get ridiculed, you get called certain things, you get called radioactive. And, I just, I feel like all my podcasts are like that. Joe Rogan is like that. Bill Simmons is like that. They're real nuanced, man. They change their minds all the time. I disagree with them a lot. I don't always agree with them. But I want to make content like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've been listening for a long time. What recently sparked me, you could say like, I could be like dramatic and be like the movie Sinners. Like really, I remember walking out that movie theater like, I need to talk about this. Because it was the way people were talking about the movie, before it came out. Critics, the way that talking about Ryan Coogler's deal, it was just, and then going to see the movie and walking out the movie and then talking to people about the movie and just hearing their critiques about the movie was just like, what are y'all talking about? You know what I mean? Like that was incredible. But that was when I was like, I need a podcast. I need something where I could just go. I need something where I could just do this, turn something on and just go, just rant and go. But some of the new podcasts I would say that really sparked me is Club 520. Jeff Teague and those boys. B Hen. Oh man, I'm missing the other guy's name. I swear I'm not trying to forget your name, but that podcast is so great. It's the best podcast that's been started in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, that is the best podcast. It's the best podcast because, again, the mark of a great podcast, other than like Joe Rogan, because that's a guest centric podcast, the sign of a good podcast is I hate when you have guests. I want to just hear y'all talk. That's where Club 520 is at now. Where I don't want to hear them have guests. I don't want to, it's icing on the cake when they have a guest, but I don't need it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't like it. But another thing that I've always thought about and kind of encourages me in a way and definitely influences me is, like I said, Charlamagne the God, Brilliant Idiots, Joe Budden. Joe Budden added Mark Lamont Hill to his podcast. All three of those guys have speech impediments. Mark Lamont Hill stutters every other sentence. Charlamagne can't pronounce half the words he says. Joe Budden stutters all the time. Like, I stutter a lot. I'm going to stutter on here. I probably stuttered on here already. You know what I'm saying? The fact that those guys speak for a living and they can't speak is crazy to me. You know what I mean? And I'm somebody who likes to talk, but I don't speak properly. I don't, you know what I mean? I got a mixture between a New York accent and an Atlanta accent. I speak, I sound crazy sometimes, but I like to talk. I like to talk about what I know about too. You know what I mean? But like I said, on this page, on this channel, this will be my podcast. As of right now, this is all I have is this YouTube page. I will eventually learn how to post on Spotify and Apple and other platforms. I want to start a Patreon. I want to start some kind of paywall at some point, but I just got to get the ball rolling. You know what I mean? A month from now, I'll look back at this and think I was an idiot. You know what I mean? What am I doing? Why was I doing it like this? Why this is a cheap microphone? You know what I mean? I'm just going though. I think it's best to just go and just see what happens. Like I said, sports is a huge part of my life. It's almost, as you get older, you get, it was a stage for me where like when you were a kid, you get so into it, you're so passionate about it, like you cry after losses, and then you get to a point where you're growing up and you're not watching as much. That's kind of where I went through. Where I was still into it, I was still talking about it all the time, but it was a weird time where I like graduated high school and I wasn't watching NBA every night. And then I don't know, you reach like another form of adulthood where you're not going out as much or whatever. And I mean, I watch the NBA every night. Every night I watch the NBA. Sundays I watch the NFL all day long, and the NFL is so gangster. They have games all day from 9:30 to 12:30 at midnight. 9:30 in the morning to midnight. It's gangster. You know what I mean? Baseball. I don't know what that is. I've never been into baseball. I've never played baseball. I've never been to a major league baseball game in my life. Not one time. Not one time. And lately, the last 2 3 years, I've gotten really into definitely when the playoffs start. I get really into it, man. Like I said, I root for the Yankees. You get caught up in that hype. get caught up in the history of the Yankees and all of that, and I just get really into it. So a lot of sports talk, deep sports talk, and like I said, y'all know who I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Bill Simmons and Russillo. You know what I mean? Those are my guys. That's my, you know what I'm saying? That's my Kobe and Shaq, man. Like those guys are everything to me, man. So I definitely will. I don't know when, but soon I will be breaking down their little whatever they're going through right now. Whatever that is, it's definitely a breakup. One of the weirdest breakups I've experienced as somebody who's been a fan of things that have broken up. You know what I mean? So I heard that some people were saying this is as bad as Jay-Z and Dame Dash. You know what I mean? And this is as bad as when Little Brother broke up in 2011. You know. But yeah, I'm definitely a lot of sports talk. A lot of movies I'm gonna review and a lot of TV shows, but I'm not gonna, like I said about stuff that's current, stuff that's going on. I'm not watching everything. I don't go see every movie, but I do go to the movies a lot. I go at least 3 times a month, at least. I don't know if I review every movie I go see, but I have so many movies I want to talk about. Right, I have 1,000 movies I want to talk about that I've just seen. Throughout my life, that's just incredible. You know what I mean? Again, I'm a Bill Simmons fan. The Rewatchables is the greatest movie review podcast ever, other than Cisco and Ebert. It's the greatest movie review show ever. I want to do something like that, man. That's one of the greatest shows ever. And something you'll hear from me a lot. I'll constantly pay homage. I'll constantly, if I'm ever taken from something I'm a fan of, I'll give credit immediately. I'm never stealing. I'm never not giving credit. I will always, if I'm directly getting something from another page or something, I'll link it. So I'm never going. I love paying homage. I love giving credit. You know what I mean? And like I said, I want to make stuff I'm genuinely a fan of, man. I can't stress that enough. If I'm not a fan of it, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to talk about it in a good way. It's just not going to sound good. It's going to sound like how a lot of these podcasts sound. Where I'm like, you don't really care about the Sweetie and Ruby Rose situation like that. You don't care. You didn't even care about the Young Thug situation. I would have never talked about that stuff because I don't care about it. I genuinely do not care about that. I care about whether or not Jason Tatum is going to be back by my birthday in March. And I will be, trying to find a way to, and this is something I've been wanting to do my whole life. You know what I mean? I want to find a way to go back and watch old games and be able to break them down with somebody, man. Like nobody's doing that the right way. Nobody's doing that right. Nobody. Shout out to Julian Edelman. He has a show called Games with Names. They kind of do that, but they really don't. They'll have a game. They'll be like, "Yo, this is this Super Bowl," and they'll have somebody on who either played in the Super Bowl, and they'll talk about it. But they'll talk about a million other things. I want to specifically break down. Excuse me. I want to break down the game, man. I really want to do that. Bill Simmons did something similar to that. He had on the Ringer, they had a page, they had a feed called the Sports Rewatchables that they just abandoned. They posted like 3-4 times and they were all good and they just abandoned it. And Bill is the guy that got me into watching old games. And I'll say this right now, and I'll make it a statement because I want to be proven wrong if I'm right. Nobody has ever watched more old NBA games than me. Nobody. Nobody. And if you're out there and you watch more old NBA games than me, please call me. I want to be friends with you. We need to do a podcast together because nobody's doing that right. Nobody. They're getting close, and this is why I got to start this because I got to figure out a way to do it. I think that's why I want to do a Patreon so I can get behind a paywall and maybe get people to. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I know I want to do it. Again, nobody does it more than me. I can't wait to do a podcast about the 2013 Game 6 of the NBA Finals, man. I can't wait. I've been waiting to talk about that game since then. You know what I mean? I want to have my friends on. I want to have my family on. Joe Rogan, Joe Budden, Bill Simmons. Go look at their podcast when they first started. It was just, and to this day, they just have their friends on. Bill Simmons will just have his 75-year-old dad on and just talk about anything. And it works. It works every time, man. Like, I know I could do it, man. If y'all, like I said at the beginning, everybody thinks their friends are funny. Everybody thinks they're funny. You know what I mean? I mean, you are. People just got to see it. People got to see it in the right way. I know if people heard me and my dad have conversations, they'll cry laughing because I can't keep a straight face. You know what I mean? You know, not trying to chase the numbers too much, man. Obviously, I want a fan base. I want to make a living from this. I want to be able to do this and not have to work. You know what I mean? I want to be able to do this and be happy. You know what I mean? But I also don't need that. That's what I want, but I don't need it. This is fun. I'm having fun doing. I could talk. I've gone 15 minutes already on this. At least 15 minutes. I'm having a bar. I could do this for 3 more hours straight, and not, probably just need some water. That's it. But you know, I can't wait, man. I got so many things I want to do, man. I got so many people I could have on. Not like famous people, but just people who are in places and know people that I could just talk to and have interesting conversations with. You know what I'm saying? So this is the welcome video. Welcome to the Broken Clock YouTube page. Welcome to the Broken Clock TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you. I'm Jabari. Remember, subscribe, share, like, comment, be brutally honest, man. Tell me what I need to get better at. Help me. Tell me what I'm doing bad. Tell me what if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong about something I'm saying, even though I didn't give too many opinions on here, but, I'm producing, man. I got notes right here. I'm scrolling, looking at notes. I'm trying. I did this all in like 2 days, too, really. Not even 2 days. I ordered this in one day. I ordered a ring light with a tripod and a wireless microphone. You know what I mean? It was under $70. You know what I mean, for both of them. So that's it, man. Rock with me, man. I'm a roll. I'm gonna learn. I promise I'll get better. In 30 days, I will be 100 times better at this. You know what I mean? But jump on the train early, man. Please. Okay? Broken Clock Podcast. Peace.